Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of Create Ultimation modpack for Minecraft 1.18. This is create-centered modpack put together by ExaltedZoro, with some classic tech mods like Applied Energetics, Mechanism and Thermal series added. Most of the recipes were either changed or adapted to fit the modpack theme. First, there are a couple things I need to bring up regarding this run. First, all the footage is sped up due to me dropping frames during recording. Second, this modpack is heavily questbook dependent and linear. I know more or less what's to come due to me completing this up to 6th chapter out of 7 available. Third, I want to keep the episodes brief, but at the same time to contain this series in 8 to 9 episodes. There won't be much action in this episode. Instead, I will focus on resource gathering and getting some basic processing going. I hope to finish one chapter for every episode posted after this intro to the series. In the background you could see me getting situated in the nearby village and gathering chest loot from village houses. After that, I crafted a basic tinker setup with part builder and tool station. I crafted myself a wooden pickaxe to gather some cobblestone so that I can upgrade my pickaxe to stone and also craft a mattock and an axe. I got really lucky with the chest loot containing 10 pieces of obsidian and also a pair of iron leggings. After crafting previously mentioned tools, let's have a look at the quest book. First, there is explanation on what we can expect when playing this modpack. Reward for this quest chain is a pair of engineer's goggles and a wrench. Later, we can take a look at an ore processing page where there are information about different routes we can take. Vanilla smelting is heavily nerfed, only giving us 3 pieces of nuggets per ore. According to questbook, I went to gather some andesite from underground along a few pieces of gravel we will need later to craft a tinker smelter. After that, I gathered a few stripped logs to tick off the quest. Later, I killed an iron golem. Since ore processing is really inefficient until we get melter and millstone, golems will provide us with early iron to craft andesite alloy along with other components. Then, I made myself some chests to store goodies, grabbed the tool station so that I can repair my tools on the go, and went to gather sand and clay to later craft grout. You can see me using Ultimine for nearly every action. This makes gathering efficient and for me is in line with the pack philosophy about automating resources and processes. After gathering some sand and clay and crafting as much grout as I could, let's come back to the questbook. I crafted some andesite alloy, which I later combined with wood to craft shafts and cogwheels. Take a look at primitive mechanism recipe. This component is used to craft everything, starting with mechanical press or mixer, and is later used to craft further tiers of mechanisms. After some local deforestation, I've gathered enough materials to craft our first primitive mechanism. To go along with destroying local flora, I've made some villagers homeless. Then I crafted my first of many andesite casings. Now it is time to pick up wrench and goggles given to us as quest rewards and craft a millstone. Continuing the process of destroying everything in my path, I've took over a local well to give me a source of rotational energy. After playing with gear ratios, we can finally place down a millstone at full water wheel capacity. After that, I've gathered beds from nearby houses so that we can keep local population safe in the bunker. I also found a compass in cartographer's hut. Let's get smelting, starting with charcoal to further power our furnaces. Later I placed those beds I gathered earlier. After that, I processed a little iron I got in a cave. Now we can dabble a bit in Tinker's processing. I got myself a solid fuel heater, a casting basin, a casting table, and a few faucets. After that, rest of the seared stone went into making a seared melter. Setup is really easy. Place a melter on top of either a heater or a tank. Some faucets coming out of melter right into a basin and a casting table. After melting every scrap of iron I could find, including those leggings from the beginning, I managed to get an iron block, which when crafted with a primitive mechanism and an andesite casing, gave us a press. Every starting quest gives us another mechanism as a reward, but to complete first chapter, we will still need to craft a lot of them. Now it is time to go caving for a bit. I've gathered some exposed ores along a lot of crimsite, which can be processed into raw iron ore. Back on surface, I've started milling iron and smelting it in Tinker's setup. For early game, best route to take is to crush ores into dust and smelt them in Tinker's smeltery, or take a crushed variant and blast it using Create Fun setup. Using this iron I got myself a bucket. Quick trip underground to gather lava. I've also gathered a stack of orcum, which can be processed to get gold. While coming back to our base, I decided to pick up few pieces of dripstone, which I hoped to crush for lava generation setup, but this recipe was deleted in this pack. Now it is back to manually processing iron, with some wheat in between to later acquire quick and easy slime balls. After that, I've replaced millstone with mechanical press to gather our first iron plates. Using iron plates, I've crafted a propeller to get an encased fan. Finally, it is time for a real setup. After determining chunk boundaries, I've placed a couple of big water wheels. Water wheels are then flooded with water to produce SU. At the end of the chain, I've placed down a regular water wheel, which will speed up the whole contraption. This makes one gear ratio obsolete. Now I installed a fan in its supposed place. Built a nice dirt hut for my villagers, since I might need to use their trades later. I also took one bed for myself. Now, I built a container for lava to use for bulk blasting. It is positioned at the end of windstream, since this fan sucks the air in. Using a trapdoor for this setup is a classic, since trapdoors don't burn while still letting wind particles affect items we need to process. While blasting is less efficient on item output than melting it down in smeltery, I still resort to this method due to speed. I crafted myself a set of chutes so I can automate millstone. Here I use casings to make the gear up compact. I use a lot of big cogwheels to change direction, because for me it surprisingly can lead to a more compact setups. Now, using the new setup, I can input a big batch of raw materials to process. Continuing, I placed down a press with a depot under it. It is important to process components in big batches. Iron plates are used a lot in every step of progression, so there won't be waste. Washing crushed iron will provide us with easy early redstone without the need of mining. We can exchange lava for water temporarily. Here you can see very compact dual-purpose setup for manual fan processing. Gearshift can revert rotation on redstone signal, so with two fans you can get every type of processing. Later, I've crushed and smelted some copper since it is used in both sawmill and drill recipe. We will need a ton of copper when we start working with fluids. Here we can get a mixer, which gives us better ratio on andesite alloy processing and will also provide us with a way to get brass. We can either mix ingots with blaze burner underneath mixing basin, or use liquid zinc and copper to mix it without additional heat. Using obsidian found in a village, I was able to construct a portal under the well. Since I do not care much for nether this run, I will probably only use it several times, and I do not need the portal visible, possibly providing a stream of nether monsters into Otherworld. In the nether, I've gathered some netherrack, a soul sand with a few pieces of cobalt. Here is a cheaty recipe for a powered blaze burner. In Vanilla Create, you need to either capture blaze inside or right-click a blaze spawner, but here it can be crafted using blaze dust and lava. Blaze dust is a side product from washing uranium. You can get uranium with bulk hunting, meaning using either soul campfire or lighting a piece of soul sand on fire. Here I had trouble deciding where to put a mixer, but putting it on a lower level works fine. I've gathered some cobalt to upgrade my pickaxe in case I wanted to mine obsidian. Might be useful later. To process cobalt, smeltery needs to be hotter than coal. So for the time being, I've replaced a heater with a tank containing lava. Now it is time to finally get some brass. I need to travel to nearby island. There, I found some kelp I will process into belts. Basic item transport method of Create. Some zinc, probably most slept on material in Create, only used to craft brass, and early way of crafting andesite alloy so that you don't need to use iron. Back from the little trip, I've automated ingot casting using a hopper to take off the ingots and a lever on a faucet to trigger automated pouring of metals. Since I didn't grab much zinc, I've decided to use smeltery for a better yield. While getting my ingots ready, I've crafted a few empty blaze burners, for now converting only one so that I get access to mixing basin heating. Using this, I've crafted our first brass ingots. Brass in this stage of the game is only used to craft deployers, which we will need a ton of. While those brass plates are being pressed, I've started planning out accessibility features around the base. Don't worry that there are only bare machines now. After every chapter I will go around the base to decorate the setups. I really want to build something else than my usual lone base, but I cannot promise anything, since until now I haven't built a house, but I've destroyed 3 of them. In the meantime, bulk of the iron we got from Crimsite keeps on getting smelted and casted into ingots. This will prove useful in the second episode, when we start getting every resource used to craft primitive mechanisms automated. Now that I've got one deployer, this marks the end of preparation. Just a quick look at smelting quest page to update this according to our capability. And we're off to Andesite H. Thank you for following along, and I hope to see you in a bit. Till the next time, bye.